I am a really lucky person. I come from a good home, where everybody is caring, well-mannered and civil to each other. In other words, I live in a fantasy world full of women. My name is Thomas, and I am 15 years old and have a twin sister called Candy. I also have 3 other sisters, an 18-year-old who is called Amanda, and is gay, but who cares, Becky who is 17 and Juliet who is 16. As you can see, I am greatly outnumbered. If you include our mom, that's 5-2, but as our dad works away for 3 or 4 months at a time, it's 5-1, and I am also the youngest. I shouldn't complain really, we are quite a close-knit family and we always have each other's back when it's required, but being in a house full of girls, the bickering that goes on is insane. One moment we're happy, then one upsets someone else and then all hell breaks loose. It's quite a funny thing really, but being brought up in a family of girls and being the youngest, there's quite a lot that rubs off on you. Silly things, like learning about color coordination, what goes with what, not only clothes but makeup, what's a good color to wear if you want to highlight your eyes or lips, how to make your cheekbones seem higher than they are. I quite often have read their magazines, and found them quite interesting. I even seem to watch the same programs that they enjoy. It's quite unnerving sometimes. I am below average height for a boy my age, so it is no surprise that at school I get bullied quite a lot. It appears, though I have never noticed it, that I have quite a few effeminate traits: how I hold my body, how I hold my hands, how I stand with one leg straight and the other slightly bent. In fact, someone said my whole posture was girlish. The weird thing was that I did not take offense when some people said that to me. When I think back, I was probably pleased with that comment, even though I didn't realize it then. When we were at home, sometimes the girls would ask me what I thought about something and I would honestly reply. Then afterwards I would think to myself that they have asked me a question that they would normally ask another girl, and I had answered them as one. This got me thinking, was I really a boy who was influenced by my sisters, or was it me, deep down wanting to be like my sisters? That evening I went to my room and really thought of everything, my actions, my thoughts, in fact, everything that I could think of. In the end, my head hurt so much I just cuddled down and went to sleep. I dreamt that I had woken up in the morning to discover that I was a girl, but it was all natural to me. I got up, showered, put my bra and panties on, followed by my tights, then my school uniform, which was a white blouse and dark blue skirt. I brushed my long hair, then put in a couple of plaits to keep it out of my eyes, then I tied them off with a white bow. After that I put on just a tad of makeup, slipped my 1.5-inch school shoes on and went down to breakfast, where everybody accepted me as just one of the girls. Then I woke up. What did that dream mean, if anything? But it got me wondering what it would be like to dress as a girl. A week or 2 passed and I still could not get this idea out of my head, so, after a great deal of thought, I decided what I would do when everyone had gone to school or work. I would bunk off school and sneak back into the house. When I did, I went upstairs, to the girls' bedrooms. I looked in all the drawers, getting out a black pair of frilly panties and a matching black padded bra, a pair of black stockings with matching suspender belt and a white petticoat. Then I went to their wardrobe and found a very pretty flowery dress and a pair of white peep-toed sandals with a 2-inch heel. I carefully laid them on the bed and just looked at them for a long while. I thought, did I really want to wear these girls' clothes? Did I really want to dress as a girl and pretend to be one? I thought long and hard about all the things I had thought about, especially my innermost feelings. The more I looked at them and thought how I was feeling, I started to cry, as I looked at the clothes and imagined myself wearing them. I knew the answer, as I sobbed. The answer was yes, it always had been yes, but I would never admit it. I so wanted to wear these clothes and be, or even just feel like a girl for a little while. I took off my boy clothes as if they were infected with something and threw them across the floor. Then slowly I put on my panties and tucked my spare piece, as I now called it, tightly away between my legs. I felt if I could pull hard enough, maybe it would just come off, but that was just wishful thinking. Then I put on my bra. I had to adjust it a little bit, but not by much. the padding and my small breasts were pushed up by the bra, giving me a small but girlish figure. I stood there looking at myself in the mirror. It was beginning to feel so right. Next were my suspender belt and panties. Again, it felt as if it was all coming together. I then slipped on my stockings. The feeling was that they all belonged to me. Next, my white petticoat and my flowery dress, which zipped up at the side. As I zipped it up and I started to slip on my shoes, I suddenly realized just how well everything fitted me. I stood and looked at myself in the mirror. I knew for definite that this was how I was supposed to be. As I twirled around, I started to cry again, but with happiness, I stayed dressed for several hours before I realized that the family were due home soon. With great reluctance, I carefully folded everything up and put it back in its place, wishing it was my clothes that I was putting away. I put back on my other clothes, which felt rough and tatty and plain and just horrible. I cried a little more as I went back downstairs. After that, I decided that at every opportunity one could get I would dress up in my real clothes as I thought of them, just as if they were mine. This carried on for several weeks, going on a month. I noticed the girls were bickering a bit more than usual. Now I wish I had listened to what they were bickering about. It was a few weeks later, and after many, many times dressing up, and even putting on some makeup, which I will admit was a total disaster, I ended up looking more like a clown than anything else. But it was fun at the time, but quite disappointing in another way. So every time I dressed, I tried to use my makeup, and the more I used it, the better it became. It was a Friday. The girls were all going to the school disco and Mom was working late. I thought that this would be a good time to dress again. This is the point that I had wished that I had listened to the girls bickering. They were moaning because someone was wearing their clothes, as they were not in the correct place where they had been left, or folded wrong, and they agreed that if it wasn't them there was only one person left, yours truly. They had spoken to Amanda about this as she was the oldest and knew about these things. It appears she told them all about some men or boys that like dressing up as girls, and that some boys think that they had been born into the wrong body. She explained it all to them, but she added that before they made any accusations to me or their mom, they had to be very sure that it was me and why I was doing it. So, they laid their trap. It was quite simple. They all pretended to go to the school disco, but would leave after an hour. That would give me plenty of time, if it was me, to change. Then they would sneak in cameras ready and catch me at it, if it was me. Did it work? Of course it did. After they had left, I gave them 15 minutes to return in case they had forgotten something. Then I went upstairs and found some pretty underwear to wear. First it was a white padded bra with pink lacing around the cups, a matching pair of panties, then a white pair of thin tights, and a white full-length petticoat. I was starting to feel so girly and relaxed now. I imagined it was all my own clothes and I was getting ready to go out somewhere. Next I went to their wardrobe. And whilst looking through, I came across this beautiful cream blouse with long frilly arms and a frilly neck, which when I put on just showed a hint of my bra. Then I found a light brown pencil skirt which came to just above my knees. It was that tight that I could only walk from the knees. I slipped on a pair of black-heeled shoes and walked or tottered to the mirror. I ran my hands over my bust, slowly going down to my waist and hips. The shape felt so right. I then brushed my hair, which was shoulder length anyway, and parted it in the middle, letting it hang loose either side. I have no idea to this day why I decided to put on some makeup. I used some foundation, some eyeshadow and mascara, and some light red lipstick with a hint of blusher to lift my cheekbones. As I looked into the mirror, all I could see was this teenage girl, dressed and ready to go out somewhere. My safeguard was that I would leave the bathroom door open so that if anybody came in unexpectedly, I could run to the bathroom and pretend I was having a shower. Very illogical now I think about it. After a little while I decided that I needed something to drink as my mouth was so dry, so I went down into the kitchen to get myself some grape juice. I think I really wanted to see my lipstick on the glass, so off I went downstairs, carefully walking from my knees as they were the only thing I could move. Just as I had gotten to the bottom step, the front room door opened and all I can remember is a flash, 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 and hearing the cameras click and the sound of voices saying, "I told you it was him, look what he's wearing," or should we say she. I didn't know what to do or where to go. Every time I tried to move there was a flash. Then one of the girls said, "You know what, she's quite passable as a girl. I think she looks so good we should all go out for a little walk, then we can talk to her properly." Someone else said, "Let's all go down to the mall." There was a lot of giggling as I was slowly pushed towards the front door. My heart nearly stopped beating. All of this was happening so fast. I had no chance to say or do anything. I was in total shock, frozen to the spot, unable to say a word. In fact, I was just totally terrified. My knees had turned to jelly. The next thing that I knew was that the front door was open, and I was being pushed out by the girls who said, "If you say anything we will leave you locked out here until our mom comes home. Do you understand, sweet Rosie?" I did not know what to do, so I just let them take me. The wind felt cold to my legs, but it felt a refreshing wind, to me anyway. It made me cool down a bit. As we were walking down the road we saw our neighbor Mrs. Jones. I started to go red and my legs went weak. As she approached she said, "Hello girls, off to the mall, not eyeing up boys up I hope." Then she just tittered and went on by. Candy said, "Well, look at that Rosie, she didn't even recognize you as a boy, let alone my brother. I would say you could pass as a girl anywhere now, don't you?" I started to plead with them to take me home, saying that I had learned my lesson and I would never do it again. Candy said, "Come on Rosie, no one's stopping you going home, you can go anytime you want to, but we're going to the mall, so you will have to go home by yourself. I don't think any boys will take advantage of you, but in that tight skirt and those breasts, I'm sure you will get some attention by yourself, but if you want to go, then off you go Rosie, be good." They knew that I daren't leave them. I was stuck like this until they had enough punishing me for what I did. It was over an hour and a half later at the mall. I had to go with them to all the dress shops. They held dresses up to me whilst they commented on whether they suited me or not, saying, "You would look lovely in this Rosie, what do you think?" Then I got taken to the underwear shops, with them telling me, not quietly, what type of bra I really should wear, and did I prefer stockings to tights, and did I know if my breasts were going to grow much more. Then an assistant came over and asked if she could help in any way. Would I like a bra fitting to make sure I was the right cup size? Candy replied, "No thank you, we were only looking for her at the moment, but if we need you we will give you a call." They all started tittering again when Juliet said, "Are you sure you don't want to be measured Rosie? We don't want you wearing the wrong bra now do we?" Then we carried on looking at the makeup with the same thing happening there. They insisted that I try out some perfumes to see whether I liked the aroma or not. By the time they had finished I smelt like a brothel with all the different smells on me. It wasn't even a subtle smell, I think everybody I passed could smell me. By this time my feet were killing me and I was dying to go to the loo. I pleaded with the girls to let me sit down for a while, as my feet hurt and I wanted the toilet. I promised that I would be good and do anything they asked me if we could, after they talked amongst themselves for a little while. After looking at me for a while they agreed we could stop and have coffee. I was so glad to sit down. Becky reminded me to keep my legs together or people would see my panties, and that wouldn't be very ladylike. Becky ordered large coffees for everyone, then they sat around me and asked me 1,000 questions, with the threat of if I lied they would leave me here to make my own way home. I asked if I could go to the loo first. It was an emphatic no, not until I answered their questions. By that time the large coffee I had drunk was having its effect on me. I knew that they would do that as well, so with legs tightly crossed I said, "All right." They asked me why I liked dressing as a girl. Did I want to become a girl? Did I fancy boys? Everything. Did it make me excited when I dressed? Have I ever kissed a boy? I tried to answer them honestly, saying yes, I like dressing as a girl, and yes, I wish I had been born a girl, and yes, I was jealous of them being able to dress their way, whereas I always had to wear boy clothes. In fact, I let it all out, everything. I told them that when I dressed up I pretended that they were my clothes. And no, I had never kissed a boy, but I had thoughts about them when I was dressed as a girl. In the end, I started to break down and cry. I expected ridicule from at least one of them, but they all gathered around me, giving me the biggest hug I had ever had. Then Becky and Candy started crying with me. I told them all that I was so sorry, and if they didn't want to speak to me again, then I would understand. They all quietly laughed and said, "Rosie, we're all sisters together. I just wished we had known sooner. We could have helped you in so many ways. We all love you like a sister. Anyway, we would prefer you as another sister than a brother. The fun we could have together, all 5 of us girls, we would take the town by storm." There were a few more tears when Becky said, "It's time for the toilet, girls. We have to redo our makeup, and I don't know about anybody else, but I'm dying for a wee." As they all got up, I didn't know what to do, when Candy said, "Come on, Rosie, don't you want to go as well? If so, you had better come with us." It was a totally different place that I had ever been to before. It was clean, smelt fresh, and had a big mirror on one wall. The girls went into the toilet. Smiling, Candy whispered, "Don't forget to sit down and dry yourself afterwards, will you?" When I came out, Candy offered me her makeup up, touch up my face from crying. Never had I ever expected to be treated as one of the girls before, only in my dreams. Now it was happening for real. As we were leaving the mall, Candy said, "We have had a quick talk about it between ourselves, and we have decided to give our new sister a treat." We went into an earring shop and they picked out a pair of small drop earrings for me, and said, "You can wear these with pride when you are dressed, and they will come out when you can't wear them." The earrings were for pierced ears. I was told to sit in this chair while an assistant marked my ears and then pierced them, slipping my new earrings in afterwards. I could have cried again with pure joy. When we arrived home, Amanda came down to meet us. She knew what the girls were going to do, and she wanted to find out the outcome. When she was told, she gave me a big hug and said, "Welcome to the sisterhood, baby. Now all you have to do is tell Mom what you want and what you want to do, easy as that." I will be totally honest, I had never had a thought about telling our mom. I mean, how do you say to your parents, "Mom, Dad, I want to change sex and become a girl"? That is something else. But I was still so happy. As we were all in the kitchen having a quick cup of tea before I had to change back, which I was really dreading, we heard the key in the latch and the door open. Then a voice called out, "I finished early today, girls, so we can go out shopping for some new clothes." My heart stopped at that precise moment. I heard my mother take off her coat, pick up her handbag, and come into the kitchen. We all stood there looking as guilty as hell. Looking around, she said, "Hello, girls. How has it been today? Have you had a good day?" Her eyes scanned the room, then she stopped and looked straight at me and said, "Is that you, Thomas? Or are my eyes playing tricks on me? Come here this instant. Stand right in front of me. I want to see you properly." I went and stood before her, going redder and redder. She looked at me, then walked around me saying, "Right, go to the lounge please, just you, no one else." As I went in, she shut the door behind us. The first thing she said was, "I presume you have a good reason to be dressed as a girl. Are you wearing girls' underclothes as well?" I just nodded, "And I see you're wearing makeup and you have had your ears pierced as well. Is there anything else I should know? Do you have a boyfriend? How long has this been going on? Do you want to be a girl then? I mean, are you wearing a sanitary towel as well just in case, or are your periods regular?" I went very red and just looked at her with teary eyes. In a very hard voice, she said, "Well, what do you call yourself when you're a girl? I'm sure it's not Thomas, as that's a boy's name, and you surely don't look like a boy to me, do you? Well, what's your name then when you're dressed as a girl?" I said, "It's Rosie, Mom." "Are these all your clothes, or are they the girls'?" I said, "The girls', Mom." "And I presume all the girls know about this, about you taking and wearing their clothes. How would you like it if they did this to you?" "Yes, and I can understand, Mom, and I'm so sorry," I replied. "And have you been out as Rosie as well?" I said, "Yes, Mom, we've all been down to the mall this afternoon." "Right, Rosie," she said with a look of disbelief on her face. "Go and get your sisters in here now." "Can I please go and change first, Mom?" I asked. No, you may not. If you like dressing as a girl, then you can stay as one until this is all sorted out. Now, Rosie, go and get your sisters, now. I went out with my head hung low and tears in my eyes and said to the girls that Mum wants you all in there now. Candy said, "Don't worry, sis, it will be all right." I was called back in about 50 minutes later. I was told to sit with the girls. Mum looked at me and said, "Your sisters have explained everything to me. They have left nothing out. If I say anything to you that isn't true, then tell me it's not true. Is that clear, Rosie?" I replied, "Yes, Mum." She continued, "Do you like dressing as a girl? Pause. Do you want to become a girl? Pause. Would you like to be a girl forever? And I mean forever. Pause. You know, if you do, it is a long, painful process and there is no going back once you start." I replied with tears in my eyes, "Yes, Mum, I know all of that. I've always wanted to be a girl, just like my sisters are." "Okay, then come over here and give your mum a big hug, Rosie, then go and thank your sisters for explaining everything to me. I will explain to your father all about it. He will come around, I'm sure. He will be happy having another daughter, I know. And as from now I will have 5 daughters instead of 4. I will make an appointment at the doctor's tomorrow for Rosie to see how we start you on your new road. Then we will all go shopping tomorrow as well, all of us girls, and get Rosie some more suitable clothing for her new life. We can't have her wearing boys' clothes now, can we? That would be quite silly, a girl wearing boys' clothes." We all laughed and hugged each other. My new road to discovery was on its way. Many decisions, many doubts, many insults, and many struggles I would endure. But thanks to my family and especially my sisters, I completed my journey to full womanhood. And I now even have a boyfriend who knows all about my past, and we love each other dearly.